What's the word? What are we talking about? What are we talking about, ladies and gents? So this one we're gonna be reacting to is gonna be coming from Torre. Jay-Z exploited lots of workers on the way to 2.5 billion. Yeah, man. Ever since this Jay-Z interview, man, it's definitely got some people in the hot seat, ruffle some people's feathers the wrong way. So curious to see what he's got to say. Let's get to the video.
Jay-Z is out of his mind. When I say there are no ethical billionaires, I am including Jay-Z, but that does not mean he's a bad person.
The kind of, I would say, commonplace public perception that someone would say all billionaires are bad or no one should have $1 billion. Like, what's the tension in that?
I got to give you the honest answer.
Please.
There's no tension.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what you say.
But you can't become a billionaire without exploiting other people. I'll show you how Jay-Z is exploiting lots of people, even though he may not even realize it. This is Torre Show News, independent news, where we can tell you what's really going on. Please like, subscribe, and comment on whether or not you think there should be no billionaires. Look, as far as music goes, to me, Jay-Z is maybe the greatest rapper of all time. In his music, he usually keeps it real.
Now, I am going to say that, like the artist, that being Jay-Z, we ain't talking about Sean Carter. We're talking about Jay-Z, the artist. That we can't take away from him. He's one of the dopest lyricists. I have to say, I've been listening to Jay since 97, 96, 97. And that has a lot to do with my mom. You know what I'm saying? My mom is from Brooklyn. And so by default, it's like Jay all the way. You know what I'm saying? So ever since Love for Free on the Streets is Watching soundtrack. Yeah. But, this whole thing with this money, him being a money tycoon, it leaves that conversation open to be had. So let's continue.
But when GQ starts asking Jay about being a billionaire, he's dipping and dodging the questions like Floyd Money Mayweather slipping punches. First, Jay switches the conversation away from his wealth and over to his personal morality.
Your morality defines who you are. It's not what you've attained. It's not a dollar amount that changes you. I don't believe in the idea that someone has a certain amount of money. It defines their personality.
We're not saying you're a bad person because you're a billionaire, but you can't become a billionaire without benefiting from other people performing a task for very little money many, many times. Jay-Z has amassed over $2.5 billion, and the fact that he's extracting so much value out of capitalism means many others are poor. If he's getting that much money from their work, then they cannot be getting much from their work. Let's look at Jay's portfolio.
Not taking advantage of people, not taking advantage of a system, not creating tax loopholes.
His number one revenue source is his liquor business, Douce, a luxury cognac. Making cognac requires a lot of agricultural workers like grape harvesters, distillery workers, barrel coopers. They all get near minimum wage to produce bottles that sell for like $200 each. Jay made $750 million from Douce because the workers performed minimum wage labor over and over, but they do not benefit from the massive markup on their work.
Not taking advantage of people.
This is not illegal. It's also not some example of Jay working harder than others. He rises by walking.
Well, I mean, that goes without saying. Most people in this capitalistic system that are billionaires do very little work. They do very little work. Jeff Bezos, who else? Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg. They do very little work. Most of the legwork is from the employees, the people doing the coding, the people building the vehicles and stuff like that. And now y'all got robots building everything. So now you're about to exploit robots, but you don't got to worry about any pushback from them because they can't talk. They don't have any feelings, at least not yet, at least. You know what I'm saying?
On the backs of poorly paid workers. Jay-Z didn't pick a single grape, but he collected several hundreds of millions, while the actual labor that goes into every bottle is done by workers who will never see a fraction of that.
See, when you look at it from that lens, that's where it's fucked up. Because yeah, even the people, the kids that they have over there in Africa that be mining the materials to make these smartphones that we use, yeah, they don't get paid nowhere near what they charge for these phones. This is a $1,400 iPhone, you know what I'm saying? But what it took to make this required children to go into a mine and extract the materials from the ground to make this in Africa. It's messed up, yo. Some messed up shit for real.
Not taking advantage of people.
That's the sort of labor
We're
exploitation
gonna stress that. Not
leads
taking
us to
advantage of
say
people.
there are no ethical billionaires. Another example, one of Jay's biggest scores ever was investing in Uber. He put in $2 million and it grew to $70 million. Amazing investment. But how did Uber become so valuable? Because many Uber drivers make less than the minimum wage, and Uber might take 25 to 50% of what they make from each ride.
Not taking advantage of people.
So Uber is a multi-billion-dollar a year company where most of its employees who do most of the work are poor. And Uber has spent millions to lobby for legislation to keep their drivers classified as contractors, denying them minimum wage protections, overtime, and health benefits. Jay-Z, as a big Uber investor, is benefiting from the mass exploitation of Uber's thousands of drivers.
Not taking advantage of people.
He's not a bad person. He didn't make those drivers drive for minimum wage, but he is a representation of capitalism's failures. When pressed, Jay the billionaire quickly leapt to a straw man argument and said, well, what about millionaires? What about near millionaires?
If it's a cutoff, if it's like all millionaires are bad, okay. So at 999,000, I'm good. It can't be that way, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Bro, we're not talking about millionaires. We're talking about something much higher than that. The economic gravity of being a billionaire is incredibly different than being a millionaire. There's 24 million millionaires in America. There's about 900 billionaires in America. Each of them holds a gigantic share of the economy. Millionaires don't set wages for hundreds of thousands of workers. They don't own media companies that determine the messages we hear. They don't have the lobbying power to rewrite tax law. Billionaire wealth isn't just more, it's a qualitatively different kind of power over other people's lives. A millionaire's wealth doesn't have a gravitational pull on the economy or the democracy. A billionaire's does. And yes, it's the same if you've got 999 million. He's a billionaire because he invests in businesses that underpay the laborers who do most of the work. That's exploitation. Yes, this is legal, but that's part of the problem. Capitalism is legal, and it's inherently corrupt and exploitative. Even when you're talking about someone who came from nothing.
The system is set up against me, against us, but I'm talking about my specific struggle.
Yeah.
Everything was against me. My talent pushed against all the headwind.
Yeah, he succeeded against the odds, but he didn't become a billionaire from music. His music gave him the capital he needed to start doing things like investing $2 million in Uber. That was a great investment, but it was one that very few people had access to. 99.9% of America never had a chance to invest in early Uber. When Jay starts getting access to incredible deals like investing in...
Well, I'll say this about that. I mean, we have to admit, yeah, Jay-Z, and this again, this ain't me glazing, all right? So don't be coming at me in the comments, all right? I'm not glazing. But what I will say is that Jay-Z has a talent. Like, that goes without saying. He can rap. He's a wordsmith. He knows how to put words together and stuff like that. So all he managed to do was like any sane person would do, is to leverage their talent to make enough money so that he can get in these doors and deal with certain people. You know what I'm saying? Invest in this, a venture capitalist, as they say. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily trying to reinvent the wheel or come out with something brand spanking new, because he probably knows that, look, I don't have that brain power. I don't have the time for that. I just want to be in the right place at the right time when before the lightning strikes. So when the lightning does strike, I benefit from it. So yeah, I had $2 million early on in Uber's infancy to make money. Same thing if somebody had bread and they invested in Bitcoin back in 2013 when it was still like this small, you up now. You got M's now. But you was just in the right place at the right time. You know what I'm saying? It's just that a lot of people who have talents, you know, you weren't in the right place.
In Fanatics, SpaceX, Sweet Green, that really supercharged his wealth. Access to those kinds of opportunities is incredibly hard to get. So, is it really about his talents, like he built a better mousetrap or a scrub daddy that everyone wanted? It's not
Nah.
truly a story of, hey, I sold a lot of records and I'm a billionaire. It's more like, because I had wealth and good relationships, I was allowed to participate in certain deals that ballooned my wealth. Does it help society to have so many billionaires, as in so few people with so much?
With that success, I've done things with my reach that I wanted to do that was helpful for a lot of people.
I mean, theoretically,
Well, now that I can't really agree with, because I would say this: if anything, what Jay managed to do was to just show people that it is possible to come from my circumstances, make it out, and make something of yourself if you're in the right place at the right time. If you know how to leverage your talent and make sure you're compensated well for your talent, and you don't let nobody, make you no pushover, then you can definitely be where I'm at. But, you're going to have to work on that. You're going to have to really put in the work, and you got to be in the right place at the right time. I'm going to keep stressing that. You feel me? But as far as that's about as much as it benefited for most people. But his wealth has not translated back to Marcy or anything like that, where he's from. And people out there still probably struggling for real.
sure, you could, but the existence of billionaires means there must be many poor people. And there's no amount of good that could equal out hoarding so much wealth that many others are impoverished. But Jay means, if I have a lot, I can give a lot. Amazing. What's your example of, I'm a billionaire who gave a lot to society and now we have this? Did you use your wealth to address some massive societal problem and change America? I mean, a billionaire could end child hunger in America. A billionaire could eradicate some cancer. A billionaire could make sure Flint has clean water. Jay-Z didn't do any of that, but it sure makes people feel good to see a black billionaire. What kind of return is that? Billionaires could make the world better, but how often do they actually do that? Bill Gates has attacked malaria in Africa. Oprah built a school in Africa. But we have 900 billionaires in America. Have they done much to eradicate America's problems?
And with the system that we have, what are you going to do?
Again, I don't blame you personally. I blame the system. Yes, this is the system we have. And the problem is capitalism. Because of capitalism, a tiny number of people have an incredible amount of wealth, while half the world's population,
Say the top 1% of Americans hold 31% of the total wealth. The bottom 90% holds 32. Yeah, man. I'll say this. When he was talking about the people that make this liquor for Jay-Z's liquor company, it's likely not in America. It's in another country, probably Italy somewhere, where they have the grapes and stuff that they can, make it at the refineries. Those people there, their circumstances are a lot more stark and grim than people here in America. whatever they're getting paid, whatever crumbs they're getting paid, they, for whatever reason, are appreciative of that. I'm not saying that is right, but they're appreciative of that because they know what it could be. They unfortunately did not get the luxury that most people here in America have. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of people in America that are poor in the literal sense of not having a lot of money and things like that, and maybe living in a condemned neighborhood, ran down. But it's a far cry from what some people in other countries have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? So them people over there, when they making this liquor, they not thinking that deep into it. They like, look, I just want my money. I seen a video like that. I was reacting to Dior's joint, Astral Dior. Shout outs to him. This guy over in Bangladesh, and he was talking to those workers over there. I think they get paid like $1 a day. They had some sort of makeshift ladder trying to disassemble a ship or something like that. And you're just like, yo, one wrong move and fall and crack your whole skull. But they didn't care. It was like, yo, we need that money. We need that munyan. So, yeah, man, it's crazy.
Lives in poverty. Those billionaires are able to thrive precisely because there are so many people who are willing to work for a tiny amount. Do you really think billionaires work hard and their workers don't?
Nah,
Many billionaires work far less hard than their workers.
absolutely.
Look, guys, there are no ethical billionaires, not because they're bad people, but because you can't acquire that much of the economy without exploiting someone else's labor. You can't grab that much wealth without forcing many others to be poor. And that's not the way a society should be run. Thank you so much for watching Torre Show. Please like, subscribe.
All right, that's the end of the vid. Shout out to him. But yeah, I'll say this. The system is flawed. It's been flawed since its inception. I really truly don't think that when the Rockefellers and the Henry Fords and the John Jacob Astors and JP Morgans were doing all of this, coming up with this whole idea, well, even before them, we talking like George Washington and, you know, Andrew Jackson and them niggas. I don't think that they had this in mind, that it would be this many people living on this system. And so by design, it's naturally leaning more to one side than it should be in the middle. Like the wealth should be equally distributed amongst every single person. But you see how they're looking at this, they're like, look, we don't have any regulation on how many kids people can have. People just have kids willy-nilly, and they're not thinking about how that's just one more kid that we got to now figure out where we're going to put that kid. That's another desk in a classroom for this kid. You know what I'm saying? I think this is what they be thinking. These millionaires, this is what they be thinking, for real. So system is flawed, and the only way you're going to really fix this is if you do away with it. We have to start with a whole clean slate, you know, new scrap piece of paper, and just come out with something else that's more conducive to the masses as opposed to the little bit of people that are millionaires and billionaires. They said it's 900 million billionaires. Oh, no, he said 900 billionaires. My bad. He said 900 billionaires. That's not a lot when you consider how many people live in America. It's like over 300 million. And I forgot how many millionaires he said there were. There's, of course, more millionaires, but yo, it's crazy. It's crazy. But as far as Jay-Z, you know, he's somebody who took advantage of an opportunity. It's like, yo, I'm a rapper. I'm going to use this skill for as long as I can so that I can get in these rooms so that I can create more wealth for myself, because I know I cannot become a billionaire rapping. He understood that a long time ago. Some of these rappers probably didn't pick up on that or whatever, and they just weren't in those spaces. You know what I'm saying? Nas caught on, you know what I'm saying? Nas is doing his thing, but it makes sense though. Like I said, Nas and Jay-Z are like the Goku Vegeta of rap. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure some of y'all would agree with me, but I'm gonna make sure I link this video in case y'all wanna go check out some more Torre's videos. If you made this far into my video, I appreciate you for watching. Make sure you check that like button, take the subway to my channel, and y'all sound off in the comment section until security kicks y'all asses out, all right? That being said, it's your boy Robbie, man. We gone.